What's up, guys? It is Friday, April 26, 2024. We're at the Bitcoin block height of 841,038. TikTok next block. Looks like the block transaction fees have gone down a bit, where they're back to normal. They're in their 30s. So hopefully it'll stay that way unless the market says something different. I don't know what I'm going to title this video. I think it's 9 o'clock at night, something like that here, Pacific time in Las Vegas. And I've been thinking about a lot of things that are going on. And the way my mind works, I compare people to other people, right? I watch a lot of documentaries on the founding fathers. You know, those are guys that I just, as human beings, I don't idolize a human being or a man or something like that, but I definitely give them respect. And the founding fathers of this country, you know, some of them could be labeled good or bad, however you want to look at them. You know, they're all different. You have some moderates, some very staunch patriotic people and stuff like that. But most of them, because of the thing that happened to them, the situation with Great Britain and King George, that happened to them, it forced them to be patriotic. And they were all, you know, from all, 13 states, all those delegates and different people, intellects, very, very smart people, man. You know, but one in particular that we all know is Benjamin Franklin. Benjamin Franklin is one of my favorites, not just because he's on a $100 bill and he, did the electricity with the kite and all that stuff. Not because of that. He's just he's a fascinating man. He really is. And he kind of reminds me of, not his whole life, just the time we're doing right now. He reminds me of Tucker Carlson. Now, before you start throwing stuff at the screen, let me explain why. Let me say some things, and then I'll lead to the comparison. That's just the way I see it right now. There's a lot of little different factions of fights right now in the Democrat and the Republican Party. You got the Democrats, you got the far left wingers of the Democratic Party, the woke. I call just crazy people, man. In my personal opinion, these people are just off their rockers, man. Joe Biden is not one of those people. You know what I mean? As much as I don't like him, I don't like Joe Biden, okay? But he's not a far leftist, okay? Joe Biden is like, especially Crime Bill Joe back in the 90s, which, by the way, he needed to do that. He was tough, man. He wasn't for any of this stuff. The Democratic Party 20 years ago, 15, 20, 30 years ago is not the same as it is now. He's not a far leftist, but he's being controlled. He's not in command of this. He's not the commander-in-chief of this country. We know that. But that's for another video. I can get into Joe Biden. But you got the far left, and then you got some lefties that lean left, but like lean far left, but they're kind of in the middle of like moderate in the Democratic Party, moderate left. And then you got some lefties that are kind of almost center left, right? They're almost like JFK Democrats, and a lot of them are leaving because the Democratic Party is just crazy. Now, I'm talking about state and federal and people that are registered Democrats, and those are people that just don't understand nothing. They're just complete puppets. And then you got Republicans, right? Republicans are at a civil war right now. Oh, let me get back to the Democratic Party real quick. You got the pro-Palestinian people, and you got the victimhood Olympics right now, right? With all the different quote-unquote victims. And the common enemy is the white man, is the Christian male white man, right? You got black people who now the black people that believe they're victims. You got gays, the LGBTQ community. You got the trans, all those people in there that I'm talking about on the left side. That are lefties. There are people that are gay and all this stuff on the other side too, like what's the name? Caitlyn, whatever, Kim Kardashian's dad or mom, whatever you want to say. And you got the victimhood Olympics where all these people are just victims. And they're all supposed to come together against the Christian white male. But the problem is the Christian white male is not the enemy. They all hate Trump and all this other stuff. But when you put all those people that don't have anything in common together, they're not gonna see eye to eye, and that's why you see all these crazy Palestinian people, or people that are pro-Hamas, because that's what they are, and anti-Israel and anti-Jewish. And I'm not getting into that. I'm just telling you what they say. Those people, a lot of them are just misinformed. They don't even know what they're out there for. They're just out there just following the crowd. They are calling Joe Biden Genocide Joe, and they're just they're mad, boy, and they're just the victim Olympics. I don't know who's gonna win, but it's crazy over there, and they're a lot of those people are not going to vote for Joe Biden, especially the people in Michigan, and that's supposed to be a layup for Joe Biden. And then you got the Republican Party. You got some moderates, but you got the quote unquote MAGA, right? MAGA is the far right wing. They call them the far right wing, the crazy MAGA people. That's what the Democrats will call them, and I guess I'm part of that because I'm America First. And I'll get to that in a second. But you got the far right wing of Donald Trump's MAGA party. You got the neocon conservatives. Part of them are still, they're not Ronald Reagan Republicans, but they're warmongers. Because Ronald Reagan Republicans are pretty good. These are the Dick Cheney neoconservatives. These are people that are just warmongers, straight up. The Nikki Haley's of the world, the Lindsey Grahams, people like that. Who's the other one that hates Donald Trump with the Trump derangement syndrome? What's the name's daughter? Dick Cheney, Liz Cheney. God, the worst. Anyways, then you got some moderate Republicans, and you got some hypocritical Republicans or conservatives, people that love Israel. And that's nothing wrong with love Israel. That's not why you're a hypocrite. But I guess I'm going to call it the Ben Shapiro wing, I guess, because Ben Shapiro's a freaking hypocrite, man. He's talking about Tucker, and I guess Tucker and Vivek, Marjorie Taylor Greene, Lauren Boebert, Byron Donalds are all MAGA. They're all crazy, I guess. And they're America First. They're patriots. They're the Freedom Caucus. And now the big thing is it's Ben Shapiro versus Donald Trump. There's so much division in this country right now, man. It's just so much. And the reason why I bring up Tucker Carlson's name's been in the news lately because that guy is brave, man. He went on Ronald Reagan, Joe Rogan's show. He did a 3-hour podcast or something like that. And if you haven't watched that, man, you're talking about a high-level conversation. My goodness, man. My goodness. And Ben Shapiro took... he got mad about some of the things, took a lot of things personal, and he made a whole show about it. And you guys know what happened with Ben Shapiro and Candace Owens with that whole fiasco. And I'm 100% on Candace Owens' side, by the way. But he showed that he's a hypocrite. He shows that he's Israel first, and if he loves Israel so much, he should just go back. And Tucker is basically saying, hey, question everything. He says that nuclear war, and if you drop a nuclear bomb on somebody, that's just evil. That's his opinion. And Ben Shapiro doesn't agree with that. And Tucker is brave because he's not strong brave, but he'll interview anybody. He went to Russia and things like that, and the mainstream media hate him. Everybody hates Tucker Carlson. The whole left hates him. Now you got the Ben Shapiro of the right wing of the aisle hating him, and I guess some of the moderates are half and half with him. I don't know. You got some libertarians and stuff like that too. But the reason why I say Tucker reminds me of Benjamin Franklin in this time frame, because I believe that we are headed to a I don't want to say a civil war. It's kind of like a civil war, but it's kind of like the war that we had with each other before we declared our independence against the king and had the American Revolution. Because a lot of people don't realize that back then, we were literally fighting within each other, or within ourselves. We had the Patriotic Party, and then we had the people that were loyal to the crown and King George, fighting against each other before all the grievances we had against King George. King George was a motherfucker, boy. He's Joe Biden in this story, right? And when the quote unquote Boston Massacre happened, which didn't really happen like that, from my recollect, there's different ways they say it. That when I was in school, I learned that the soldiers all lined up. I think it was March 5th, 1770, or something like that. they all lined up and then shot those five people in Boston. And then was it Boston? Yeah, Boston Massacre. Yeah, sorry, it's late. Sorry. And but it was a crowd of a lot of angry patriots at the time, and the Boston soldiers came out and they were trying to protect, law and order and everything else, because that's when the soldiers were there in the areas at the time. And then they shot them, and then they had to go to trial. And what's crazy is John Adams, our second president, a lot of people don't know, was a lawyer. He represented the he represented the soldiers, and he got some of them off, and some of them had to do some time or whatever. But John Adams, a lot of the patriots were mad at him, but he said, look, we got to protect anybody's right to a fair trial, no matter what. And because of his loyalty to America and the patriotic movement, they let him slide. And of course, he ended up becoming the vice president, the first vice president, and the second president. And then after that, of course, we had the Boston Tea Party. And I'm not saying we're going to have a Boston Tea Party situation, but this was like 3 years later. I think it was December 16th, 1773, I think. And you guys know what happened. You had 50 men, patriots, dress up as Mohawk Indians, and they put all this stuff on their face, and they wore feathers and tried to pretend like they're Mohawk Indians, and they didn't. Everybody knew who it was, and they went over there because King George put a 3-cent tax for every pound of tea, which was, I'm not saying it was nothing, but it was, in the big picture, was nothing. But the Patriots weren't having it. They were just so sick of King George and all the things that he were doing. And I'm not saying YouTube, I'm not saying America should do this and we should fight back, but what I was talking about yesterday with all these, these capital gains taxes that they're going to do on the rich at 44.6%, and the 25% unrealized gains tax, which means you didn't even make any money and you have to pay the tax, meaning you didn't actually sell your asset. You think the people back in those days would have went for that? No. But again, they're weak. They don't want us to stand together. And I'm not doing any violence, and I'm not promoting any violence, YouTube, but that's why they want to divide us and conquer us, because they don't want us to all be on the same page and be standing up against the tyranny like the people in the 1770s did. But anyway, so when the 50 guys went over to that boat in Boston on the Boston Harbor and took that tea out and dumped it. That was a lot of tea, man. That was a lot of tea, and that King George was not happy about that. Not happy. And that caused a lot of differences between not just King George and the Patriots, but the Patriots and the loyalists to the crown here in quote-unquote America, because back then they weren't standing together, guys. These were 13 colonies that didn't really consider themselves together. They were, but they weren't. It was weird, you guys know. And when those brave men went to Philadelphia and they got together in a secret meeting, because a lot of people don't know this, Benjamin Franklin, I'm doing a history lesson here, sorry guys. Benjamin Franklin, he was over in London at the time, and he, as a kind of like a liaison for America, he's like the middleman between us and them. And that's how kind of Tucker is. Tucker used to work for Fox News, and he'd be representing the Republican Party, but representing the people. And he was a very famous man. Benjamin Franklin was the most famous man on the planet. In the late 1760s, early 1770s. He just was, for all the things that he accomplished, rightfully so. Benjamin Franklin was never a president, by the way. A lot of people think he's a president. I ask people that, and they think he is. Anyways, so he was over there. So when this happened, when the Boston Tea Party happened, Benjamin Franklin took a bunch of letters that he had and brought it back to America, sent it back to America, and one of the politicians over there found out that he was not a good politician for America, and they tarred him and they got rid of him and everything else based on Benjamin Franklin's letters. And King George was not happy with Benjamin Franklin, and Benjamin Franklin pretty much got quote unquote fired from being the middleman between, like, the liaison, the spokesperson, because he loved England. But you know what? He wasn't a tough guy. He was a smart guy, and he was over there and he loved England. He was a chess player. He was so smart. He used to write those almanacs and stuff. Such a smart man, man. If you get a chance to read his stuff, he's just so smart. And at that moment, when the King George reprimanded him, I just went off on him for over an hour, and he just stood there and took it. At that moment, he realized that, you know what? His loyalties was like, forget England. Even though he loved London and he loved England, he loved the king, and he loved all that stuff. He's like, you know what? I'm an American. Forget this. And he left. He left. And his loyalty stood with his country. And that is reminding me of Tucker Carlson right now. And the reason it does, guys, because, again, I watch a lot of these, and I read a lot of these documentaries and about our founding fathers, and I'm always trying to look to see who's that person. And I'm telling you, man, Tucker Carlson, when it's all said and done, man, he's going to be a guy we're going to look at and say, wow, he stood up for the truth. He really did. And what he did, and I remember this last year, 2 years ago, I was like, man, when he was coming out with the real January 6th stuff and coming out with the real news, I was thinking, wow, Fox is not going to have that. And of course, they fired him for it, and he got reprimanded. And now he's doing his own thing like Benjamin Franklin. And with all these things going on, all these divisions in this country going on, it just makes you think, like, when stuff hits the fan, what side are you on, right? I mean, again, it's not about Republican and Democrat. You know, I think we are watching a transformation of this country. You know, at first it was the woke agenda and the far left stuff and all that. And I think that's making, even though Trump already came with the Make America Great thing coming out, they went after him for it. Not because he was making America great again. He's because he was a different choice between, like I told you the story of the Jones plantation, he was a different choice between Mr. Jones and Mr. Johnson, the cousin. He wasn't going to keep us on, quote unquote, the plantation anymore. So when that faction is growing, that left-wing faction, the crazy woke stuff, and then you got the MAGA party really growing, because all he was saying was, look, I want to make the whole country great. But because they attacked him so much, it's almost like the Republican Party split up, because there's a uniparty here too, in between the Republican and Democrat Party. Again, bipartisan is uniparty. You got a lot of traitors in this country. And he quickly found out that he had a lot of enemies when he became president, and he got attacked from all angles. This man is getting attacked from all angles, and he's sitting in court still. This is his second week in court. And he's fighting for us, man. He's having these impromptu rallies in New York City, blue New York, and they're loving him. And they're saying F Joe Biden everywhere and stuff like that. And I love him for it, man. I love him for it. I really do. And I love Tucker Carlson. And I love Vivek Ramaswamy and all our America First patriots, Tulsi Gabbard. You know what I mean? Even Robert F. Kennedy Jr., he's getting attacked. And these people, all these people, Byron Donalds and Lauren Boebert and all these, Matt Gaetz, all these America First, Freedom Caucus, quote-unquote MAGA people, maybe looked at, not the same as the Founding Fathers, but maybe looked at as the people that help us win this country back, because we're losing our country. And we are in a battle. And I know you guys don't like when I talk about politics, and I know that, but again, I'm God, family, country, Bitcoin, in that order. And I love my country. And the attack that this administration is doing, speaking of Bitcoin, on Bitcoin, with all these, with the company that just left, and then we got the Phoenix wallet, the Samurai wallet, then the Phoenix wallet is leaving now. You think this would be happening under Donald Trump and Vivek Ramaswamy? No, of course not. I'm not telling anybody to fight. I'm just telling you, just read your Declaration of Independence, read your Constitution, read the Bill of Rights, read the Federalist Papers, read your Bible, man. Just know your history. And I don't know everything. I'm trying to learn every single day. I try to get my daily news and I try to get my history in. There's only 24 hours in a day and I can't learn it all. And there's always wisdom in the crowd. So let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. And again, guys, I'm not saying Tucker Carlson is Benjamin Franklin. I'm not saying that. But when we look back at this time, Elon Musk, Joe Rogan, all these guys, I think they're going to be looked at as our heroes. But thank you guys so much for watching. God bless you and your family. Oh, boy. We got to keep fighting, all right? God bless you, and God bless this country. Thanks a lot for watching, and I'll talk to you soon. Peace and love, guys.